Tonight, cleanup plans hit a snag.
I think the situation with the Manwin was a great example of we need to do this as quickly as possible.
Why it's going to take longer than expected to remediate the site of the Manwin Hotel, and what the city is doing to get ahead of fires in vacant buildings. Also tonight, cracking down on drug-impaired driving.
It's dangerous, it's detectable, and it's definitely illegal.
What drivers can expect as part of a new enforcement campaign. Plus, a dose of hands-on learning.
See?
Why these students from northern Manitoba were cooking up a fresh batch of sunscreen inside a Winnipeg lab.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A large pile of debris now sits where the Manwin Hotel once stood, and it might be there for a while. Fire tore through the vacant building yesterday, and the plan was to have the site cleaned up as soon as possible. But now there's a snag, and it's unclear when the rubble will be cleared away. Joining us live to explain is CTV's Jeff Keel. So, Jeff, what's the holdup?
There is asbestos on the site, and that requires approvals from the province. This rubble is all that is left of the Manwin Hotel, and it's not being hauled away just yet.
The removal of the debris has been paused temporarily.
The vacant building burned to the ground Wednesday, a year after the city issued a vacate order over fire safety concerns. An emergency demolition was ordered of what was left, and the site was to be cleared with the costs put on the owner's property tax bill. But Winnipeg's fire paramedic chief says because there is asbestos, things are now on hold as provincial approvals are now required before contractors can clean things up.
And they also have to prepare a safety plan. So this is obviously asbestos is dangerous stuff.
The firefighters union says the city needs to do more to stop these dangerous buildings from going up in flames, like hiring more fire prevention officers.
My last shift on duty, I went to 2 separate vacants, and at both of those fires, I had crew members fall through the floor.
The WFPS says they are working to hire more fire inspectors, and the city is bringing in tougher measures to force owners to fix up their properties, like increasing empty building fees and being able to take title of a property for failure to pay taxes after 2 years instead of 3.
The situation with the Manwin was a great example of we need to do this as quickly as possible.
And the city is exploring that option with the Manwin, as it says taxes for the property are outstanding.
So before the city would be in a position to apply to take title through tax sale, we're looking at probably in excess of another year or more.
The Main Street project, which bookends the lot full of debris, is interested in the site.
We hope that something goes there that provides support for our community housing. Something like that would be a great place for a big housing block or something.
Obviously, they're right there. They're contiguous. They wrap around this site. So we know that in Winnipeg right now, we need more housing.
CTV News has reached out to the owner of the Manwin for comment yesterday and again today, and we have not heard back.
Jeff, is Winnipeg seeing more vacant property fires?
Actually, the numbers, while still very high, appear to be dropping. The Winnipeg fire paramedic chief says preliminary numbers for 2025 show there were 220 compared to 274 last year.
Interesting. All right, thanks for this, Jeff. Main Street Project says it is still assessing the damage to 2 of its buildings, which sit adjacent to the Manwin. It says the building housing its administration office, food bank, and clothing donation space suffered extensive water and smoke damage. The nonprofit expects most of the donations there will be a total loss and says it's unable to operate its weekly food bank or accept donations for the time being. Instead, clothing donations should be directed to Silo Mission or Nadina-Waymak. The other building, its emergency shelter, experienced minimal damage. It expects to reopen that later on Friday. Meantime, there's still a question about what's going to happen at another site on Main Street after a devastating fire destroyed it a year ago. The historic Sutherland Hotel went up in flames 1 year ago. This afternoon, the head of a nonprofit that was just a week away from closing a deal on the property before it burned, held a small rally to push the city to clean up the site. Keith Gordon with Ann Hart Affordable Housing says it wants to build a 69-unit facility for affordable housing and social supports on the land.
So we want to say today, we're not going to let another year go by. We're going to have action right now to try to get government, business, and community involved. Let's figure the obstacles out, close on this deal, and build affordable housing here.
Gordon says similar projects in cities such as Vancouver have been successful in helping people get out of homelessness or transitional housing. A city spokesperson could not speak to the specifics of what's happening to the Sutherland Hotel site. And speaking of affordable housing, the city is looking for people who can develop some on city-owned sites. There are 11 vacant properties the city is looking to partner on, all of which will be available for the low price of $1. The idea is to turn them into small-scale housing developments, with most being between 1 and 2 units. The city is accepting expressions of interest until February 19th, and it's hosting an information session for those interested on January 27th. All you have to do is send an email to haf@winnipeg.ca to register. 8 people are facing charges tonight, including 3 from Calgary, after police raided a St. James home Wednesday. The force says it was part of a drug trafficking investigation, which began last month and centered on a house in the 300 block of Rutland Street. Officers seized a loaded .22 caliber rifle and a loaded Smith & Wesson .40 caliber handgun, along with several grams of cocaine, crack cocaine, and Percocet pills, as well as $10,000 in cash. The suspects range in age from 14 to 27. They're facing several charges related to firearms, drug trafficking, and possessing the proceeds of crime. A 17-year-old boy is also charged with identity fraud and multiple release order breaches. A Winnipeg man is facing several weapons offenses. The arrest comes after RCMP learned a man was buying firearms using someone else's license, and some were illegal weapons from outside Canada. Last Thursday, RCMP executed 3 search warrants in the RMs of St. Andrews and Armstrong, as well as at an address in Winnipeg. It followed a weapons trafficking investigation which started in late September. These are the firearms seized: Selkirk RCMP, the Manitoba RCMP Emergency Response Team, Police Dog Services, National Weapons Enforcement Support Team, and Winnipeg Police were all involved in these raids. A 43-year-old man was arrested and is facing a number of charges, including possession of a prohibited weapon, knowing its possession is unauthorized, and weapons trafficking. The investigation is ongoing. Winnipeg police are cracking down on drug-impaired driving.
Our message is clear. Don't drive high. It's dangerous, it's detectable, and it's definitely illegal.
The force says driving while impaired by cannabis ranks second behind alcohol for most offenses. So over the next 6 weeks, more officers are going to be on the lookout for drivers who may be under the influence. Police say the effects from smoking, vaping, or ingesting cannabis can differ from person to person.
There is no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to impairment. It is especially important for drivers to understand the difference in onset and duration of effects depending on how cannabis is consumed.
Police warn you should not get behind the wheel for at least 12 hours after consuming cannabis. Last year's campaign over the same stretch resulted in 97 motorists testing positive for recent consumption and 86 tickets issued for offenses including unlawful storage and consuming cannabis in a vehicle. Lace up those skates, because tonight the Nestaway River Trail is back in business. The Forks shut down the trail Tuesday morning due to warm temperatures. A spokesperson tells CTV News crews assess ice conditions each morning to determine if it's safe enough to skate on. And a dip in temperatures Wednesday was just what the doctor ordered. The trail is open now on the Red River from the Forks Port to Churchill Drive, and on the Assiniboine River from the port all the way to Donald Street. Let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. Temperatures have warmed up a bit again.
Yeah, once again, we've swung back up courtesy of a warm front that's ushered in the low pressure system that's crossing Manitoba tonight. It sent temperatures back up above freezing here in the south, including here in Winnipeg, but they're going to drop tomorrow courtesy of a cold front associated with that same system. More snow on the way tonight, but the bigger issue may well be blowing snow. A lot of parts of the province will be contending with blowing snow both overnight and for tomorrow, particularly these areas in yellow, so areas south of Lake Manitoba, southeast of Lake Winnipeg, and up in the northwest corner of the province. I'll have more details on that and a look at the weekend coming up very soon. The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In the city right now, it's partly cloudy and -3 degrees with those winds out of the west-northwest at 11 kilometers an hour. The wind chill feels like -7. The pressure is dropping and humidity right now is 86%.
Thanks, Colleen. A new study suggests grade 8 students in Manitoba are underperforming in 3 key areas of education: reading, science, and mathematics. But on the plus side, students are doing better in all 3 domains than they were 10 years ago. The results were just published in the 2023 Pan-Canadian Assessment. The assessment that year focused on science proficiency, and while it found the majority of Manitoba's grade 8 students were meeting or exceeding expectations, they still lagged behind their counterparts across the country. Overall, girls scored better in reading than boys, while boys performed better in science and math. More than 30,000 grade 8 students from across the country took part in the assessment, which was conducted in the spring of 2023. The University of Manitoba Lab hosted Indigenous grade 12 students today in its chemistry lab. They were given hands-on experience creating pharmaceuticals. And as CTV's Joseph Bernacki tells us, the partnership could open some doors to a bright future.
The thing that interests me the most about pharmacy is the research you could do about saving lives.
Nashton Mason and his classmates are making sunscreen, combining calamine and other elements. The grade 12 students from Winnipeg's Southeast Collegiate spent Thursday afternoon at a real University of Manitoba pharmaceutical lab.
Now that I've been coming here for a while for field trips, I feel like that I could really change lives back home.
Indigenous students like him are taking part in U of M's Introduction to Healthcare Careers Pathways program.
It's a series of introduction to different aspects of healthcare sciences in hopes that it prepares them better to enter post-secondary.
This lesson at the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences Lab intrigued the class.
I use sunscreen every day, so it was kind of weird seeing the process of it being made.
I thought it was cool, actually, to make this and all the processes that go into it.
This is kind of good that I get to do hands-on work.
Stooner says a program like this gives Indigenous students a path to a scientific career in communities where education may be limited.
Students from rural, northern, remote, isolated communities tend to maybe lack the basic sciences coming out of high school. We are trying to get ahead of the game.
Stooner says they have plans to expand this program to middle schools with the aim to bring students back each year. Leadership from the collegiate says the collaboration is a slam dunk.
To get to those roles, the better that it's going to serve their communities and help them in their future careers.
For now, the class says they are going to enjoy their laboratory creation.
Sunscreen!
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Thousands of tickets are issued in Winnipeg each year to drivers who run red lights or speed through intersections. And those infractions are caught on camera at 49 intersections throughout the city. But just how busy are these cameras? Well, according to the annual report from the Winnipeg Police Service, northbound Main Street at Logan Avenue is the all-time leader. More than 99,000 tickets have been generated at that intersection since 2005. Kenniston at Corridon and Grant at Wilton round out the top 3. As for the busiest intersection cameras in 2024, eastbound Marion Street at Dufresne Avenue flashed the most with 4,739 tickets issued. It was followed by the aforementioned Main at Logan intersection and Regent Avenue West at Owen Street. The report notes most speeding offenses at these intersections are between 10 and 14 kilometers over the posted speed limit. You can find the full list on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Construction is now underway on the Forks Railside development. Officials provided further details on the first phase of the development, which will transform underutilized surface parking lots into a mixed-use neighborhood. The 3.5-acre Phase 1 includes 350 residential units within 9 apartment blocks and 1 condo building. The 4 to 6-story buildings will include a mix of housing options, including affordable units arranged around courtyards and pedestrian-friendly alleyways.
At street levels, there will be shops and cafes and cultural venues and services that spill outdoors, places that invite people to linger and connect all year round.
An archaeologist will be on hand throughout construction to ensure any discoveries are handled with cultural respect. Phase 1 construction is expected to exceed $150 million. It's being funded through public and private investment and will continue through at least 2027. The Railside development is set to contain 1,200 residential units once all 3 phases are finished in 2040. Winnipeg's mayor took a tour of Osborne Village this afternoon. Scott Gillingham was personally checking in on businesses and hearing from owners on a range of topics, from public safety and homelessness to transportation. Here's a bit of what he heard.
Honestly, it's been great for us since we've been here. We haven't had any issues, like no break-ins, no problems really at all. What do you think? Yeah.
We try to create a safe space for everyone. Welcome here. And yeah, we've never really had any issues. We've been here for just over 2.5 years. And we love being here in Osborne Village.
Osborne Village has gone through a pretty significant transition in the last 5 to 8 years since the pandemic, really. I'd like to think that we're back on our feet and things are moving in the right direction, but having someone like the mayor come down and actually speak and listen to concerns is definitely valued.
It comes after several months when Winnipeg police upped their presence in the trendy neighborhood over concerns about a spike in violent crime. The city of Winnipeg is providing the scoop about pet waste complaints it's dealt with over the years. Since 2020, the city says Animal Services received 725 calls about pets defecating on property that isn't its owners. Most of the calls are about dogs, but also include some cats. 417 calls were for an owner failing to pick up after their pet on someone else's property. 217 were for public property. 91 were reported for both public and private property. The number of calls has decreased each year, with 170 placed in 2020 and 107 in 2024. The responsible pet ownership bylaw requires owners to pick up after their pets. Still ahead tonight, discussions, deliberations, and deals.
It's a partnership with new focus and greater depth and a sense of purpose.
The new relationship between Canada and China and the agreements that have already been inked. Plus, the death toll from anti-government protests in Iran rises and now includes a Canadian. Those stories just ahead. It was a mixed day on the markets. Crude oil lost $2.80. The loonie slipped below 72 cents U.S. Gold futures dropped $12. The TSX added 112 points. The Dow Jones jumped 292 points, while the Nasdaq gained 58 points. More than a dozen Manitoba communities are getting a share of some $7 million in funding to shore up climate change resiliency. 13 communities are receiving tens of thousands of dollars in joint funding from the federal government and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. It includes Steinbach, Stonewall, Toulon, and the rural municipalities of Rosser, Taché, West Interlake, and others. The average amount is around $70,000, aside from Winnipeg, which is receiving twice as much. The funds are largely earmarked for developing so-called climate adaptation plans. Manitoba New Democrat MP Leah Gazan has endorsed documentarian Avi Lewis for the party's leadership, becoming the first sitting MP to officially back a candidate. Gazan says she sees Lewis as someone who can rebuild the party and offer solutions to the high cost of living and climate crisis. High-profile environmentalist David Suzuki also endorsed Lewis earlier this week. Alberta MP Heather McPherson and union leader Rob Ashton have also secured some big endorsements in the weeks leading up to the January 28th membership cutoff date. A new era tonight in relations between Canada and China. On the first day of talks, the two nations signed trade and economic cooperation agreements to boost exports, but there's still no breakthrough on reducing tariffs on canola and seafood products. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver is traveling with the Prime Minister and shares details of the cooperation roadmap.
A grand ceremony full of pageantry in China's House of Political Power, marking the restart of a Canada-China relationship that has been largely non-existent for years.
And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order. It's a partnership with new focus and greater depth and a sense of purpose.
Prime Minister Mark Carney receiving a warm welcome from various Chinese leaders Thursday, who said bilateral relations have hit a turning point.
China is prepared to work with Canada to follow through on the important consensus between our leaders and move forward our strategic partnership on a trajectory of healthy, steady, and sustainable development.
Agreements signed today pledge greater dialogue in areas including forestry, tourism, culture, and food safety. On energy, the pact recognizes Canada as an important potential partner in oil and gas.
What we heard loud and clear is China is looking for reliable trading partners that don't use energy for coercion.
So far, there has been no agreement publicly about tariffs, but Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, who has been outspoken about the need to remove canola tariffs, was invited to sit in on a meeting with Premier Li. Tomorrow, Prime Minister Mark Carney will meet with Xi Jinping. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Beijing, China.
Global Affairs says it is aware of the death of a Canadian in Iran. This as the UN holds an emergency meeting on the deadly nationwide protest against the regime. CTV's Mike LeCouture on today's developments, including the response from the minister.
As anti-government protests blanketed Iran in recent weeks, we're learning a Canadian has died in the hands of Iranian authorities. In a post on social media, the Foreign Affairs Minister said, "Our consular officials are in contact with the victim's family in Canada, and my deepest condolences are with them at this time." While supporting the peaceful protests, Anita Anand said Canada condemns and calls for an immediate end to the Iranian regime's violence. According to some estimates, at least 2,500 people have been killed since the Iranian regime began cracking down on protesters. The White House says 800 executions were scheduled for today, but President Trump has been given assurances they will not happen.
The president and his team have communicated to the Iranian regime that if the killing continues, there will be grave consequences.
Perhaps a glimpse of some of those consequences, the U.S. Treasury Secretary announced sanctions against key members of the Iranian government.
Iran's leaders have brutally responded to peaceful demonstrations with violence, from mass shootings in the street to attacks on wounded victims in hospitals.
In an apparent appeal to the Trump administration, a video message from the exiled Crown Prince of Iran laid out his aspirations for the country if the current regime is toppled.
A free Iran will work with regional and global partners to confront terrorism, organized crime, drug trafficking, and extremist Islamism.
Well, that can only happen if the Islamic Republic is ousted. Meanwhile, with the recent crackdown on protesters, Canadians are being urged by Global Affairs Canada to leave Iran now. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Donald Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minnesota. There's been growing unrest since an ICE officer fatally shot a woman last week. Trump and his officials accuse local leaders of encouraging violence, but the mayor of Minneapolis says he's calling for peace. Olivia Rubin reports.
Tensions boiling over in Minnesota. Protesters clashing with law enforcement at the scene of another shooting involving a federal officer. The Department of Homeland Security claiming a federal law enforcement officer shot a Venezuelan man in the leg, saying he took off during a traffic stop and tried to evade arrest and violently assault an officer. Adding 2 other people joined in, attacking the officer with a snow shovel and a broom handle. DHS saying the officer fired to defend his life, hitting that man in the leg. The man and the officer were taken to the hospital, the other 2 taken into custody. The protests and clashes happening daily for the last week after an ICE officer shot and killed Renee Good, a U.S. citizen.
This is not creating safety.
Mayor Jacob Fry slamming the immigration operation, calling for peace.
For anyone that is taking the bait tonight, stop. We cannot counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own brand of chaos.
And President Trump now threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act, which would allow him to deploy the military on American soil. Despite calls from Governor Walz to pull ICE agents out of Minnesota, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem saying she has no plans to do that.
I discussed with the president this morning several things that we are dealing with under the department and different operations. We did discuss the Insurrection Act. He certainly has the constitutional authority to utilize that. My hope is that this leadership team in Minnesota will start to work with us to get criminals off the streets.
And the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche also trying to blame Democrats in Minnesota, saying he is focused on stopping what he says is their terrorism, saying that that is not a threat, but a promise. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado met with Donald Trump today behind closed doors at the White House. She spoke to the media after the meeting and said she presented Trump with her Peace Prize medal.
You offered to President Trump your Nobel Peace Prize.
I presented the President of the United States the medal, the Nobel Peace Prize. And
Trump has declined to endorse Machado as the new leader of Venezuela. Instead, he chose that country's vice president. Trump has long been public about wanting the Peace Prize. The Nobel Committee, though, says the prize is not transferable. 26 people, including more than a dozen U.S. college players, have been charged for allegedly rigging basketball games in a betting scheme.
We allege an extensive international criminal conspiracy of NCAA players, alumni, and professional bettors who fixed games across the country and poisoned the American spirit of competition for monetary gain.
According to prosecutors, 39 players on 17 different teams were paid between $10,000 and $30,000 to underperform, while fixers placed big bets against their teams. The charges include wire fraud, bribery, and conspiracy. The indictment follows an NCAA investigation that led to at least 10 players receiving lifetime bans. 4 astronauts are back on Earth. The crew's space capsule splashed down in the Pacific Ocean near San Diego just after midnight.
They deploy around 119 miles per hour, and they'll decelerate it down to about 15, 16 miles per hour.
Their mission to the International Space Station was shortened by several weeks because one of them had a medical problem. This is actually the first time NASA has had to cut a mission short because of a medical emergency.
It's all hands on deck here, and it's a coordinated effort to make sure as many people can get going as possible today.
Snow struggles. Just how much of the white stuff is coming down out east as airlines and snowplows struggle to keep up?
Well, so far the first half of January overall has been reasonably mild with some fluctuation, but as we head into the second half of the month, that's going to change. Saturday's high is just minus 20 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. But the temperature does hold steady Saturday night, up to minus 17 on Sunday with the possibility of more snow. Mix of sun and cloud by Monday, minus 19 degrees, up to minus 16 Tuesday, minus 17 on Wednesday. And yes, all those daytime highs are below normal for this time of year.
Central Canada is being blasted by a blizzard. A nasty winter storm is bringing heavy snow, some 40 centimeters in parts, along with strong winds, snow squalls, and bitter cold. There was chaos on highways and roads, and it meant major delays at airports, impacting flights right across the country. CTV's Heather Wright ventured out into the snowy conditions.
Weather whiplash, from record high temperatures in parts of the west to snowstorms in parts of the east.
I woke up this morning, I was not expecting to see all the snow.
The snow began falling last night and has kept coming. Environment Canada predicting as much as 35 centimeters could fall in both southern Ontario and in the Ottawa area. While in Montreal, 10 to 15 centimeters is expected. A number of school boards in the Toronto area shut their doors today, leading to the two greatest words for a child to hear in winter: snow day. But adding to the headache for parents, the Toronto District School Board says a glitch in its third-party email system means some families never got the closure notice. For anyone needing to get somewhere today, travel was slow and frustrating. The Don Valley Parkway in Toronto was closed in both directions for hours, while the storm caused delays at airports in Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto.
It's all hands on deck here, and it's a coordinated effort to make sure as many people can get going as possible today.
This is the first major snowstorm to hit Toronto since 50 centimeters fell during 3 consecutive storms last February. The city's response to those storms called a failure by the mayor, who says cleanup coordination has improved.
Once plowing is complete, crews will begin to remove snow from our streets and sidewalks.
And while snowfall is expected to slow over the coming hours, Environment Canada is not predicting much of a reprieve for people in southern Ontario and parts of Quebec.
I think we could just say kiss any thawing temperatures off from until February.
Environment Canada says some flurries might stick around for the next few days in parts of Ontario and Quebec, but it's the cold temperatures that they say are going to be here until February. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen, please tell me that storm is not headed our way.
It is not.
Okay, good.
No, there is snow headed our way, but not nearly that much.
All right.
It could be worse, folks, and it is for our friends, our neighbors out in eastern Canada. Tonight, though, we could be contending with blowing snow, and that could really reduce visibility, certainly in some parts of the province tonight. But really, blowing snow could be a concern to varying extents throughout the night ahead and tomorrow across much of Manitoba. Here's a look at the situation right now on the satellite radar. We're seeing some snow pick up around the Dauphin area, not falling right in Dauphin itself. I'll zoom in a little closer on that in just a moment, but I want to show you these areas of particular concern. Environment Canada has issued a blowing snow advisory in very different parts of the province. First of all, for areas in south central Manitoba, so south of Lake Manitoba, and then that area southeast of Lake Winnipeg. Both of those areas will be dealing with convective flurries blowing around in some very strong wind gusts that could get up to 80 kilometers an hour both tonight and through the day on Friday. And Environment Canada is even suggesting there is the possibility, anyway, of road closure. So do keep that in mind. Up in the northwest as well, Brochet under that blowing snow advisory. So not just in Brochet, but in other parts of the north as well. Visibility is expected to be diminished in that blowing snow, and those flurries, those convective flurries, as they continue to come down. Now I'll zoom in on that area in southwestern Manitoba. You can see snow has come through Russell, Strathclair, but just look at how fast those arrows are racing across your screen. That tells you just how strong those winds are right now. Out in northwestern Ontario, the other area where we're seeing some snow picking up on the radar, but you can see by contrast how much slower the winds are moving, coming out of the southwest into that part of northwestern Ontario. Now you can see like a blanket, pretty much all of central and northern parts of the province already covered in snow. Same thing back in northwestern Ontario. Flurries or light snow. These aren't significant snowfall amounts, but it certainly is very widespread. But in the next couple of hours, you can see that snow is really going to take over the rest of southern Manitoba, including here in Winnipeg, and even here in the city too. Do watch out for blowing snow in open areas. Winnipeg is not under that advisory, but you saw we're sort of sandwiched between those two areas that are. In the overnight hours, that's when that wind is really going to strengthen out of the northwest and really all across the province tonight and into Friday. Now you see still a lot of areas affected, but you see how this starts to lighten up the colors. That tells you that the snow will be lightening up too, likely tapering off to flurries, but they'll pretty intense blowing around in those winds. Speaking of intense, we'll have an Arctic high sliding in behind as the low moves on out, and that's going to bring sunshine and a very cold start to the weekend. We'll see some snow move back into the northwest by late Saturday afternoon. We drop down to -12 tonight in Winnipeg with snow and blowing snow. Flurries and blowing snow expected for the commute tomorrow. Temperatures falling throughout the day to -18 with flurries likely in those strong winds. Light snow and flurries tonight across the northeast. Temperatures falling tomorrow afternoon for most areas. Thompson down to -24. Light snow and flurries tonight, blowing snow across the northwest. Temperatures dropping as far as -30 tomorrow afternoon for Lynn Lake. In the southwest tonight, look for light snow there. Pretty much down to -15 no matter where you go. Watch out for blowing snow. Not as much of a concern, but it's certainly possible. You'll have some gusty northwest winds tomorrow as your temperatures fall as well in those convective flurries. And in not northwestern Ontario. We're almost there yet, folks. Winnipeg in the southeast. We can't forget about us here in the city. Light snow coming through tonight, tapering to flurries tomorrow as the temperatures fall in those strong winds. And in northwestern Ontario tonight, light snow and flurries tonight. That will continue tomorrow as well, with temperatures not nearly falling off as far. Actually not falling at all, in fact. In Hecla Grindstone Provincial Park, that's where we send us up to get our first look at that area. That photo was taken by Cheryl, and it is a beautiful one indeed. That's up in the Interlake. And out in Ladywood, Manitoba, that's just north of Beausejour. That was Debbie's view, and you can really see how that snow is hardened up with those fluctuating temperatures. Send us your photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, nothing comes easy in the NHL. The Winnipeg Jets are riding a 3-game winning streak, but injuries on the blue line are stacking up.
We have good depth in this organization, so we have guys that can come up and fill, which is awesome. And we've been seeing some new faces around here, which is great. Guys being able to play, and obviously unfortunate with the injuries that we've had, but that's part of the season.
Neil Pionk is the latest D-man to go down with injury, joining Colin Miller and Hayden Fleury on the shelf. That opens up a spot on the second pairing for rookie Elias Salomanson tonight in Minnesota against the Wild. Head coach Scott O'Neill says the Jets need to build off their successful 5-game homestand.
You have to be, how you play at home is how you have to play on the road. There's no, it's not like you can turn it off and on and do different things. We need to do that. Certainly with our back end having some injuries, we got to make sure that we're really simplifying how we do things. Don't feed into Minnie's transition. They have, especially their top 6, they can move. They got some defense that are coming all the time. So, try to force them to play more in their end of the rink than ours.
Forward Morgan Barron also returns to the lineup tonight, and Connor Hellebuck is scheduled to start in net against those divisional rivals. Puck drop from St. Paul goes at 7 o'clock.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special.
This is something that should have happened a long time ago now.
A failed experiment? Why Vancouver is ending a drug decriminalization pilot project. A good news, bad news story for you now. Although Donald Trump's tariffs are largely behind a decline in national home sales last year in Canada, the real estate market is expected to rebound this year with demand from first-time home buyers. CTV's Abigail Beeman on what we can expect in 2026 and what potential home buyers are thinking.
My father talked about his first house that he bought was $80,000, which is now my down payment.
John Gilmer is like so many millennials struggling to buy a first home.
Feels almost like spinning tires.
Even with a household income above $200,000 a year.
The target keeps getting raised as fast as our savings.
Water building up behind a dam.
The Canadian Real Estate Association cites pent-up demand from first-time buyers like Gilmer as a key driver for its new projection of some growth in sales and prices after sales fell in 2025, saying interest rates have come down enough to make a difference. After a 1.9% drop, CREA projects national home sales will climb 5.1% in 2026 and 3.5% in 2027. House prices predicted to climb slightly too, to a national average just under $700,000 this year and $715,000 next year.
People in their 30s who are saying, I need something big enough to start a family in, it doesn't exist.
or it exists in the legacy detached space, which is very expensive.
The so-called missing middle of affordable options.
People aren't necessarily interested in like a condominium townhouse or a condo itself, and they're having trouble getting into like a freehold.
Kriya says over the last 2 decades, there's been a switch from building low-density detached housing to building mostly apartments. John Gilmer is hopeful 2026 will be his year to enter the market, thanks to savings, lower interest rates, and financial help from his parents.
$2,700 a month that I'm paying in rent could be used in much better manner where I'm building equity.
The Prime Minister has committed to doubling the rate of home construction. Kriya says it has a sense of optimism about the federal Build Canada Homes Agency, but for the medium to long term, while the problem of affordable housing remains pressing today. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
British Columbia is ending its 3-year drug decriminalization pilot, saying it didn't deliver the results the province hoped for. And as Penny Daflos reports, the NDP is coming under fire from both supporters and opponents of the experiment.
Whether it's on the street or behind closed doors, toxic drugs are killing thousands of British Columbians of all walks of life every year. Since 2023, users haven't had to worry about being arrested for possessing drugs for their own consumption, but that exemption is now ending.
The pilot hasn't delivered the results that we hoped for.
The health minister claims not enough people sought treatment to justify the decriminalization program, while also acknowledging
we don't make public policy in a vacuum, of course, and we want to make the best, most informed, evidence-driven decisions, and we make that in context of public awareness and the perspectives that we have heard loudly and clearly from communities.
Decriminalization didn't hurt anyone. It absolutely did not, and it helped a lot of people. So the idea to not apply again and to stop the program is, like I say, it's political.
Harm reduction advocates are disappointed but not surprised, given the EB government has been rolling back decriminalization measures after public safety concerns and street homelessness grew.
This is something that should have happened a long time ago now.
The BC Conservatives are now pressuring policymakers to focus on recovery and consequences.
You absolutely do need to hold people accountable for their actions, and you can do that without stigmatizing people. You can do that without making things worse. But why should everyone in society have to suffer because a few people want to be able to use substances wherever they please?
That approach will face opposition as advocates try to revive decriminalization.
It's gone away for the moment, but that doesn't mean forever.
We will keep adapting and learning and taking bold steps to help turn the tide of this crisis.
It's not a bold move, but the province is following through with the promise to expand Access Central. Now almost anybody in BC can call a single phone number where staff will personalize a detox and care plan for those ready to end their drug use. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic. Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Jade Eagleson.
Something is in bloom over at the Leaf.
The butterflies are all hand-painted on corn husk. It took the team there, a team of 4, 5 days to create it.
Those are just some of the creations you'll see during the Fleur de Ville exhibit. It has sprouted the Leaf's Babs Asper display house, which reopened at noon following a recent planned closure. The showcase features 15 floral mannequins brought to life by Winnipeg floral designers. This year's theme is wonder.
We are here to celebrate all those beautiful things that we see out there in the natural world and educate people on what those are.
Displays are inspired by the lavender fields of France, Australia's Great Barrier Reef, and the Amazon rainforest, to name a few. The global launch of Fleur de Ville Wonder runs today through January 25th. The biomes will be closed again from January 26th to the 29th to allow the horticulture team to transform the display house into a new exhibit called Nature's Apothecary. The Manitoba Museum is now offering free visual interpreters to its visitors.
pelts from fur-bearing animals, moose and caribou, hides, goose feathers, and quills, as well as food.
The IRA Explorer connects blind or low vision users to professional interpreters using the camera and microphone on their phones through a downloaded app. It received overwhelmingly positive reviews from a testing group last month, encouraging the museum to launch the service for all.
And the feedback that we received was wonderful in terms of the autonomy that it gave them, the freedom to do it, and to also being able to experience something like this that is such a huge part of Manitoba's history.
The service is available at no cost to anyone visiting the Manitoba Museum, but cannot be used in the planetarium. The accessibility improvement was made possible through a provincial grant. Your Thursday primetime lineup starts with Hell's Kitchen at 7, 911 Nashville is at 8, Grey's Anatomy follows at 9, and George and Mandy's First Marriage wraps things up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon.
Well, we swung back up above freezing once again today, up to 1 degree, but we weren't as warm as we were on this day 1 year ago, 2.3 degrees. Tonight, we slide down to -12 with snow and blowing snow and strong winds. Watch out for blowing snow and flurries tomorrow as the temperature falls.
Thanks, Colleen. An ancient Roman home more than 2,000 years old has opened up to the public, kind of. Well, a lot of the ground floor no longer exists. The underground floor is full of wonders. The problem is, it's down a very narrow staircase. So the Coliseum Archaeological Park came up with the idea of live streaming a guided tour system. A guide with a camera strapped to their head goes down, and everything the camera sees is played for guests upstairs, as an expert explains. Much safer that way.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
I don't know what kind of safety precautions are up for the guide, but stay safe going down those stairs. All right, that does it for us tonight. Have a good one. See you back here tomorrow.